What's up, everyone? It is May 17th, Monday. Had a pretty good day today. I actually only traded two small caps and then a couple large caps. We'll talk about them. I didn't take any losers today, thankfully, so that's good. It's good. My winners weren't huge. I didn't make it a ton today on small caps. Large caps I did really well, but small caps I didn't do super incredibly well. So I didn't lose, which is nice, but my winners were all relatively small. Didn't get filled in full on I think one or two orders. I did add to a winner on AMC. And that one was good. I could have held BTU for a lot longer as well, so all right, so my first of the day was BTU here. Let's go and clear this. This is Peabody. Nice. Okay, so at 8:44, so that would have been right here during this large red candle. I said 707 down to 696. 707 down to 696. So this is my zone here, as you can see. It looks wider than it is just because of that price action. I mean, that's 12 cents. It just looks like a super huge zone. But I mean, you can look, and it was really the one significant trend pullback on the day. I mean, you had a couple of these you could have potentially caught. But geez Louise, look at the stock is pretty much just straight up. It didn't come down to wave at all. It was just so I could have realistically held this, a lot longer than I did, but I didn't. As always, I had a stop loss and profit target. My stop loss is actually I think it was 685 or something like that. Simply because I could have had it at 6.9 for sure. You can see that this candle here would have been fine, but I wanted to incorporate being below the 20 as well. And that way, if price kind of wicked down, see the bottom of my zone was 696. So if price happened to wick down below that, I only have 6 cents of wiggle room right there. So I was like, you know what? At the very least, I'll give myself 10 or 11 cents and put my stop loss down here. So that's why I ended up doing that. My profit target was initially 7.2 and 7.3. So yep, we ended up getting filled 2 out of 4 orders here. Actually, I think I did 3 on this one. I can't remember. Maybe I did 4. Yeah, I did 4. And 1 at the very bottom. So 1 at the top. 1. I think it's 7. Yeah, so it would have looked like this, right? So you can see that I was like a cent away from being filled on my 3rd order. But yeah, I only ended up getting filled 2 of 4 orders on this one. And then once it came up to this profit target right here, I ended up not taking profit after all because of the way that it went up, which is important. Good enough. So anyways, price came down, as you can see, came down and wicked me in. Actually, I got tapped in on my first bid here, and I was telling myself, just sell, because if you think it's coming back to your zone, then you can just put that bid right back where it was and take this for free. And I ended up not. I mean, I only would have made like fucking $20, but still, that's. That would have been, free money at that point. Because what did I do? I saw that this candle was so large. Let me zoom in. I saw that this candle here was almost engulfing, right? So we went up, 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 knife, an engulfing candle up. And I was like, well, this significant pop, if it opens up here on the net, which it did, obviously it opened right up here. I was like, if it continues up, I could hold this for, $40-$50, potentially $100 on a 100 share position would be crazy. So tomorrow I just need to be more level-headed in that respect. There was no reason not to take this free $20 that it was giving me, put my bid right back where it was, and then I would have gotten stopped in 2 of 4 bids again anyways. But instead I held through this, came back down, tapped my next one, because this is like the equivalent of like when you get tapped in and then you hold through all of this. This is the equivalent of like running in a circular track, and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna start, and then you run your 400 meters, and by the time you get back, you're like, all right, I'm back where I started, and we're starting over, because basically all of the progress you made up until that point is completely useless. It's just I don't know. I hate doing that, but I could have easily made. I mean, it's not significant. I'm not like, it didn't ruin my day or anything, but those are small things that I'd expect myself to execute, or I would hope that I would execute a little bit better. So something to be mindful of. It did end up coming down. It went up. This was nice right here, because I was like, oh, okay, well, if it comes back down, what I can do is sell half, and then it kind of rested here, and I saw that it wasn't, pop. It was kind of going over and coming back, going over and coming back, and I was like, well, since it hasn't had an extended push down, I don't, I'm not very afraid. On this next one, it kind of came down, and I was like, well, I'm still in full. I'm in the money. So I didn't sell here. Instead, it ended up popping up to the 7.3, and I sold it here. I ended up getting like 25 cents off of the trade or whatever with half a position. So not it's a good, clean, winning trade, right? Which is sometimes more important to it's more important to think about it in that capacity, as opposed to like, yeah, I made, X amount of dollars, which is like fucking negligible. Like, was it even worth my time? Because it's like a winning trade, right? It's kind of relative, the amount that you won, the fact that your system worked, and I was able to identify a move ahead of time, and all that. Those are all good things, right? And I got to remember that, to worry less about the worth of the trade's result, and more about like, my execution of it. So over here on the 5 and 10 though, again, I preach this all the time. Anytime you can see wicks to fill your zone and then closes right above it, those are I always feel really good about that. Obviously the 10 did the same. You notice that on the 5 and the 10 we're working off VWAP, same with the 2. So that feels pretty good. No, I mean, this is obviously a good candle. This long wick hammer, it's gonna pin bar almost. It's gonna push you upwards. I mean, that's really it. There's not a whole lot to say about this. I mean, the 10-minute chart looked great. The fact that it didn't give back, I hate it when a 10-minute chart goes all the way up and then the wick is like half as long as the candle itself, because that tells me that like the selling pushed it all the way back down. I hate seeing that on the open. But this is another reason I don't trade until 10-15 minutes after the open. This is my first trade of the day, 22 minutes in the open, and I had a good one. I was confident in this trend because I felt like I had seen enough information up until this point. Had I just seen this candle, I mean, maybe it would have been a different story. I don't know. Yeah, that's it. That was it on BTU. As you can see, I mean, you could have literally taken this zone. Somebody in the Discord messaged me, and they were like, dude, I took that zone of yours from 7 all the way to 8.15 or something, which is like way up here. I mean, you could have gone crazy. And I believe it was a she, said that she's trying to utilize my entries in a less scalp centric method. Just use my method of trying to find value entries in a more longer term trading style, which is great. It's great if you can take little bits and pieces of things you really like from different people's methodologies or edges or strategies or what have you, and then kind of build your own that suits your interests, your risk level, your personality, things like that. Then by all means, there's no perfect way to do it, right? And in fact, I even encourage that. I encourage you to take what you like about somebody else's and make your own adjustments to it, because it's very easy for like me or someone else to show you the way that we trade, but we can't understand it for you, right? And I feel like when you start to put your own spins on things and you start to kind of develop your own style within that, or maybe using some of that, that understanding definitely it is a lot easier to grasp You know, I feel like you start understanding it a lot better if you're able to make alterations and things like that. So anyways, we'll go to the next trade. It ended up being AMC. I don't remember where I took it. Hopefully these are right. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know what the fuck this is. The hell is that? Okay, I took it a lot lower than that. I don't know exactly where, but man, what a bunch of chop in the morning, dude. That's crazy. Okay, so I took AMC. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Oh, okay, here you go. Oh. We'll watch AMC 13.8 to 13.7. This is at 8:42, so 8:42. What did I say? 13.7 down to, oh no, 13.8 down to 13.7. So as you can see here, this one ended up filling me pretty well. Actually, it didn't. What was the bottom one? 7. And look where this came down to. Look at the low. 7-1. So it filled me 3 of 4 orders, which was only like actually a third of my position, because I think 2/3 of my position was that last bid, and I missed it. Because I remember going back and being like, what the hell? And I looked at the candle and I was like, 1 cent. You gotta be kidding me. So anyways, yeah, I identified this zone right here within this action here. It obviously came down, you know, and this is really, I actually kind of like the look of this. And you can even go see in chat, I said at 8:54, I'm really liking this higher time frame on AMC. Good risk to reward stop at trend fail. Oh yeah, my stop was at the trend fail, which was going to be right here. So I knew for sure that, like, if it falls below this, it's no longer a higher low, right? Which is cool, because I actually ended up giving myself a little extra room. And I, you know, that way if it wicked or whatever down here and just was eating right back up, I could stay in the move. So I ended up being able to give myself like a 10-cent stop loss with a definitive area to pay attention to, which was going to be this failure of the trend here. Sorry, I was reading the Discord. I typed it into Discord as well, so you could have seen. You know, even if I had it here, it wouldn't have stopped me out. But, you know, just for the sake of giving yourself that room for price to kind of do its natural movement up and down as price changes hands, you know, having a stop 3 cents below your zone, I wouldn't recommend it in most cases. You can eye this place mentally and say, okay, if it comes down below this, maybe I'll start scaling out. Maybe I'll pay attention to if it wicks real quick and goes back up. Then I don't want to be stopped out right here, you know, because that was an anomaly in that situation. So anyways, I said I really like the higher time frame candle. You kind of had like what ended up being like this flag pattern here. You know, just like that, sort of. But the big thing to take away from this is that it shoots up, trades sideways, pretty much right at this 14 level. You can see where 14 was just stopping it dead in its tracks. But at the same time, the opposite was true, and that this VWAP just would not give. All of the moves below VWAP in the 20, you can see just immediately wicked and were chewed right back up, which tells you that in this area right here, there's a lot of people buying it. If it manages to get down here, it's getting swallowed up, and it's going right back to trading within this zone. And that gives me a, you know, I like to be down here with a lot of those buyers. I'll let the big money keep the price up here, kind of keep it afloat. And then once it, you know, once it gives, and it can only run into 14 or, you know, VWAP so many times before it you know, it bounces like a pinball, bounce, 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 bounce. Eventually it has to go one way or the other. And we have the luxury of where we added being below where that decision point would be. So if it decided to go down right here, we're like either still in the money or at a break even point, and we can make a decision to cut the trade there if we don't like the action, continue downside and stuff like that. So anyways, it ended up popping above 14 right here, and I preach this over and over. Right now in this market, you have to sell on the pop. So I ended up taking full profit right above 14.10. It ended up shooting up here. I filled on the ask, so it was like 14.15 or something. I obviously could have had another 20 cents or whatever out of it, but I was not chancing it. AMC is kind of a large cap. It's definitely a larger cap than most of the things that we trade every day. I call them large caps at small cap prices. They're my favorite things to trade because typically large caps respect technical analysis a little bit better. And that's just what I found personally. So whenever you get a large cap that's at a small cap price, it's sometimes the best of both worlds. So anyways, it popped. Being that it was a large cap, I could have probably been a little more brave than I am with the typical low float small cap stocks we're usually dealing with, because when those go up, they immediately, they jerk right back down. So I sell on the pop real quick, and I ended up making a what is that, 50-cent move, something like that, which is really nice. It was really nice. I was not upset at all. Okay, I said scaling some profit at 14. So yeah, right at here as it kind of broke over, I said taking some profit at 14. Stop the break even, risking 0, holding the rest for the 14.2 chance. It came up here to 14.2 and I sold the rest of what I had. So yeah, good trade. Yeah, sold the rest on that AMC pop. Boop. I will add the zone again. Oh, that's right. At 8:59, I said I'm gonna add to my winner down to VWAP. So yeah, as it was popping up here, and it was popping above 14. So that's what ended up happening. I remember now. So yeah, it filled me. It popped above 14. I scaled some out, raised my stop to break even, added down here on the dip, and then sold the rest as it popped, like I said. So yeah, it ended up being like an extended trade, because you can see this action ended up lasting almost 20 minutes. But the higher time frames, they're all good signs. Look at these strong wicks, bodies closing above VWAP. That's pretty bullish. What was, basically a flag pattern here, an extended flag pattern here. A lot of, I mean, this looks like a fucking mess, but it did end up going. And again, like the downside was, the downside potential was to fall down to my zone, which, doesn't really hurt me a whole lot. I mean, we would have stopped for a small loss or break even, or maybe still even in the profit if we wanted to sell. And like I said, I ended up moving my stop loss up to the break even anyways. So yeah, that one was all right. Let's see. I know I traded sorry I couldn't call it. I'm busy at work. I'm taking this on Neo. Yeah, okay, so this ended up actually being a really good trade. Okay, so this is it. This was at 10:33. 10:33. 33.6. Oh, here, maybe I should just open it up. 33.68. 33.59. So I took it down here. Yeah, so I got filled in this area right here. And then I sold at the break over this 33.8 level. I scaled out, and then as I saw it ended up shooting almost to 33.9, and then it came on the next candle. It kind of went up over 33.9, but you can see that at this point during this rally, look at this volume. When this volume starts dying out, and you can see the price kind of rounding at the top as opposed to a sharp up and a sharp down, That's when you know it's just basically running out of steam. So I went and scaled the rest right up here at high 33.80s. My stop was 33.37. So that would have given me the 200 SMA, VWAP, the 50 period moving average, which is something I use for large caps occasionally. So you're going to see, yeah, so you'll see that right here is that purple one, but I don't typically use that very often. I was doing a lot of Tesla today, so I turned it on just to see. But yeah, I mean, this is nice. You see how it's like, you know, bottomed out, wicked up, making some higher lows right here. You know, good opportunity for continued action upwards, which is what ended up happening. Wick down here, popped up, sold. So that was a nice trade. That was before Tesla started really tanking, which was amazing because I shorted the heck out of Tesla today. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful Tesla short here. I had a short on Neo. Oh, no, I did take a long on BLNK as well. Go ahead and open that one up, see when that was. So yeah, this one, same situation. Stop down here. That's what this dotted line is. That gives me VWAP. That gives me the 20 as levels of support. Previous price action. As you can see here, price came down, filled me, came up here to my profit target. And again, just like the Neo example where it's kind of rounding off, right? Instead of it being sharp up, sharp down. And you find that that's a lot more common with large caps. Or even mid caps. Anything that's not like a low float small cap, it's typically not going to be as up and down in such an extreme fashion, which is why I recommend people, you know, if you have the capital and you can trade a $20, $30 stock or whatever, you know, you can make just as much money doing these, sometimes with less stress. So, you know, don't be afraid of some of these more expensive tickers if you have the funds to be able to buy and sell them. But yeah, I ended up taking this for, was that a 50-cent move or so? So my strategy is ultimately the exact same. Still, you know, catching trends. Defined stop was right below the lower low here. So if it gave through that and through these two and this price action, you know, pretty good sign that it's going to fail here. Tesla. Where is my Tesla one? Here's a short on Neo I took. Now, all of these shorts, they were all on the firm account, which is why I'm showing you them here. I don't have a way to like bring them back up. So you can see here, I made this zone. You can't see, but it's based off pre-market levels. It came up, filled me in full, went against me actually for a little bit, but then it ended up coming down all the way down to 32.94. I actually think that I ended up covering down here at this line. I think that ended up being like 33.20, 33.15. No, it would have been, yeah, 33.10 range. But anyways, that was another 50-cent move on Neo. Was a good short. And the reason I'm showing you all these is because it's important to know that when I bring up this Tesla trade here, that they're almost all at the exact same time. And the reason for that is because, you know, I really love EV as a sector when I do my firm account, because I can trade all of these at the same time. You see the time on the bottom of them is almost all the same. Let me bring up the others. Yeah, see. Enter this one at about 1. Enter this one at about noon. Yeah, pretty good. Anyways, so I created my zone up here. As you can see, the price action even looks a lot like Neo's because, you know, Tesla is the sector leader. So what Tesla does, the rest try to follow in most cases. You know, things like XPEV, occasionally Neo, since it's Chinese, won't follow suit. But I find that Tesla and Neo are the two that are almost always identical. So if I take a good move on Tesla, if I'm fast enough or I do it at the same time, I can usually catch the same or similar move on Neo. On Friday, I tried to explain a lot of that as I was doing it in Discord because I think Plug and other tickers were running. And I was able to identify, when they would run based on what Tesla was doing. And I said, okay, Tesla's popping over daily high. I'm going to buy plug now on this dip because it's going to follow suit, and it would. So it is nice to have these, and this is something that is obviously unique to large caps or just not small caps, because the sectors there are definitely a thing, but it's less reliable. I mean, Tesla and NIO you could do every single day. But anyways, yeah, so I got filled here. Great wick to fill. I ended up tapping me in all my bids and pretty much stopping right at my last bid and then just... So within this one candle after getting filled, I'm already in the money, like, $3, $4. Ended up coming down here to 376. I covered for about close to a $4 move and $5 move, something like that. And then as it, later on in the day, I ended up shorting it some more and taking some put options. I don't have pictures of that, though. I didn't think to take any. Only time I'll show you guys these large cap ones is if I remember to, while I'm on the firm account, take screenshots of my Webull that I use to chart. Otherwise, like, because I don't type them into Discord, it's very hard for me to, like, pull them up on here and rechart and go over them. But, yeah, I had a really, really strong day in large caps today. On Tesla, I had a couple of, like, losing trades where... I would try to get a good entry and it would go against me a little bit. So I would take a small loss and reassess my entry. I do that a lot on large caps. But yeah, really, really strong day today. Really good day. I felt really good about it all day. I made bank in large caps. I was super stoked. But one thing that's important to know about, like, there's still a lot to be learned on. There's still a lot to be learned on days where you won and you feel like you did everything very well or you executed your plan. I mean, there's still things to be learned. It's very easy on days where you lost or days where you had a lot of bad things happen to learn, right? Because, like, it's very obvious and in front of you, like, where the issues were, and it's easy to reflect on and look at and observe. Well, on days where you did well, it's a little bit harder to be like to go and nitpick and find flaws in what you did, considering that nothing bad happened. But it's important to remember that, what I like to do is I actually, because I do these reviews every night and I take notes and I use Trader View, I like to say, is this my best day ever? And if not, I go look at my best day ever. My best day ever was, I think in December still. But I went and looked at it. And percentage-wise, though, not like total, not like dollar P&L, because obviously my account's bigger now, so it doesn't really balance the same way. But I'll go look at my best day ever, and I'll say, okay, why wasn't today my best day ever? I won a bunch of trades. I didn't do anything majorly wrong. No huge errors. My strategy was working well. Why is it different? Why wasn't it my best day ever? With all of those things, how come it wasn't my best day ever? And then I go in and looked at my best day ever, and I was like, okay, of the variables and things that I had control over, obviously the heat of the market or whatever is not something that, I can control one way or the other. But, I was like, what's my thought process then? Well, let me look at my notes. I looked at my notes on the day, and I was like, yeah, I was very confident in this. I was really reading the tape well, blah, 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 stuff like that, right? And then I can say, okay, well, today, maybe this could have been my best day ever if I just had that same mental focus, or that same, maybe I should have read the tape a little bit better on some of these shorts. Maybe I was, just there's a lot of things I can compare to, so that when I have a good day the next day, I can say, oh, I remember. Don't forget to do this, because this pushes good days to be great days. And I remember this because I've, compared so many of my good days together to my best day. There's a guy I really like to listen to that talks a lot of psychology, and he brought up an interesting point about when you're doing well. It's called the summit mindset or something like that. But more or less the significant majority of people who die scaling Mount Everest actually die on the way down. And a lot of it has to do with, like, you've achieved that goal. You feel great. You're really on top of it. And, I mean, you're quite literally on top of Mount Everest. And you underestimate, or you have this continuity bias where you think that, like, things are always going to be this way. I've reached this level, and now it will, on this level we will stay. And you kind of underestimate the hard work that has to be put in order to get back down the mountain, or to continue trading. So I always try to catch myself, because I fall into a big bad habit of getting overconfident. And so on days where I win, I have to, like, let's say today I had a great day and I was feeling real good, but it's important in my mind to keep myself in second place, right? And to think that, like, okay, but I could have done better. Like, percentage wise, this wasn't my best day ever. I still have that percentage goal to beat. There's like an old rowing team, and they were so good, like better than everybody by legions. But they were still obsessed with being better, because they were like, we can make the boat go faster. And that's kind of what I try to think of and remember, is that I can do better. My best day is not the end. You know what I mean? Once I've achieved a goal, that's not the finish line. The end of achieving that goal is the transition period of setting a new goal, and then beginning to move that direction. So I don't know. I guess I'm just saying a lot of nonsense here, but I guess my point is to remember that, like, on days where you do well, be happy that you did well, for sure. I will not try to take that from you. I love to bask in it, but you got to remember that tomorrow you got to climb down the mountain, and the difficulty is still there, and that you haven't peaked, and there's still a ways to go. The learning is never done. You can always get better. You're never left with just being excellent. So that's something I'm excited to do tomorrow, is try to be better than I was today. I had a great day today, but it was far from my best day. And whether tomorrow be a good or a bad day is kind of irrelevant. It's all, in the grand scheme of things, just data that at the end of the year will make up how well I did, and what I have to address going forward. So anyways, a good day, but still a lot to be learned on good days, I guess, was my big point there. That's going to be it for me today. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. If you guys want to message me or ask questions or whatever, feel free to. My DMs are always open, so be well, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning.